The quest to discover and reach beyond the world we know has been a uniquely human phenomenon that started eons ago. Famous milestones in this endeavor were Marco Polo's travel through Asia, the discovery of America by Christopher Columbus, Ferdinand Magellan's pioneer trip around the world, and many others. So what makes man want to leave the comforts of home and explore? Is it for economic reasons? Is it mere curiosity? Or is it a quest to find a better habitat? Let's take a look at one area of human exploration and specifically examine America's ventures there. The answers to our questions may surprise you. By far the most exciting and farthest reaching of man's exploration has been space, the final frontier. Although we first started inspecting and pondering the heavens centuries ago, it wasn't until the 20th century that mankind was able to overpower gravity and finally wander beyond the Earth. And although not the first of man's adventures into space, none has been more determined and successful as America's NASA program. But going back to our questions, what was and still is American motivation for space exploration? Short for the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA was created on October 1st, 1958, to research flights within and outside the Earth's atmosphere and for other purposes. This was 1 year after the Soviet Union launched Sputnik 1, and a technology gap crisis had become part of the Cold War. This was an embarrassment, given America's ascent to superpower and world leader status after 2 world wars. So shall we add political gains or maybe international competition to our list of questions? Perhaps. The singular achievement of NASA during its early years involved the exploration of the Moon, otherwise known as Project Apollo. Apollo became a NASA priority on May 25, 1961, when President John F. Kennedy announced,
"I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the Moon and returning him safely to the Earth."
This was a direct response to what was then a clear Soviet supremacy of probes beyond the Earth. Although there were major challenges and some failures, the Apollo program moved forward adamantly. On July 20th, 1969,
I'm going to step off the limb now. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Neil Armstrong uttered these famous words when Apollo 11 fulfilled President Kennedy's challenge. Landing on the Moon was only a stepping stone for American exploration of deeper space. In direct response to failed but first to get there Soviet probes, NASA launched its own more successful missions to explore the inner planets, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. By then, though, it was known these were desolate, inhabitable, and resource-poor, if not completely dead planets. Here again, we see that America's motivation was not economics, and certainly not for search of better habitat. One can easily argue that competition and a gold medal standing in space exploration seems to have been the only driver. It wasn't until the late 70s that American groundbreaking dominance of space took hold, and since then, American motivation seems to have shifted back to more familiar and instinctive human ambition. In 1977, NASA pioneered the way and sent flyby missions into the outer planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. And in that same year, NASA launched Voyager, the first and only one-way mission to reach interstellar space. To date, Voyager has covered over 12 billion miles and is still beaming signals back to Earth. In the 1980s, NASA started the Space Shuttle program, the only reusable space flight vehicle. In direct reversal of earlier competition with the Soviets, the two superpowers, along with ESA, the European Space Agency, cooperated on using the shuttle as a transport vehicle to ferry equipment and international astronauts to maintain the International Space Station. In 1990, NASA launched the Hubble telescope. Although not the first space telescope, Hubble is one of the largest and most versatile. Today, Hubble beams heavenly digital images of deep space, the likes of which we have never seen. But more importantly, Hubble allows us to peek back in time to the origins of the universe, answering questions fundamental to human beliefs about creation and whether we are alone in this vastness of space. Currently, there are ongoing studies of outer planet moons and plans to study the feasibility of sending astronauts to Mars. These quests are born out of an incessant search for life elsewhere and anxieties of losing the Earth to some environmental disaster. Both are the right models for continued man's exploration of space.